Most people think discipline is loud. Cold mornings, angry motivation, a war with yourself. But Jimin's discipline is quiet, it looks soft, almost effortless. And that's why it's dangerous. Because when something looks effortless, people stop respecting the work behind it. So let me ask you something. How does someone stay that consistent without breaking? How does someone train like a machine, but still move like art? How do you keep showing up when nobody is clapping, when nobody is watching, when you're not even sure you're improving? And here's the real question, the one nobody talks about. What does Jimin do when he's exhausted, when he doubts himself, when he doesn't feel ready, but he still has to be perfect? Because that answer is the difference between discipline and burnout. And if you learn it, you can apply it to anything: studying, fitness, career, healing, even rebuilding your confidence. Stay with me, because this isn't hype. This is a blueprint. In the next few minutes, I'll break down the 4 rules behind Jimin-level self-discipline. The kind that builds results without destroying you. Not a try harder speech, not a motivational quote, a real system. And by the end, you'll know how to train your mind like he does, so you can show up even on days you feel empty. Because the truth is, most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they don't have a system strong enough to carry them through a bad day. Let's build that system. Rule 1. The first rule is simple, but most people never do it. Jimin doesn't treat discipline like a feeling. He treats it like identity. Most people say, I'll work when I feel motivated. I'll start when life gets calm. I'll be consistent when I feel confident. But confidence doesn't come first. Consistency does. Because motivation is a visitor. It shows up and disappears, but identity stays. Jimin doesn't wake up and ask, do I feel like doing it today? He asks, who am I today? And the answer is always the same. I'm the kind of person who shows up, not because it's easy, but because that's the standard. That's why his discipline looks natural, because it's not a decision he makes once in a while. It's a decision he made once and became. So here's your first upgrade. Stop saying, I need discipline. Start saying, I don't miss. Even if it's small, even if it's quiet, even if nobody claps. Because discipline isn't built in big moments, it's built in the boring ones. And listen carefully. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. So choose your identity, then protect it. Rule 2, rehearsal mindset. Rule 2 is what separates average from elite. Jimin doesn't chase perfection on stage. He builds it in rehearsal, because performance is not magic, it's habits, under pressure. And pressure doesn't create skill, pressure reveals skill. That's why he respects the boring part. The repetitions, the corrections, the tiny details nobody notices, because he knows something dangerous. If you don't train your standards in private, you'll panic in public. Most people wait until the moment matters, then they pray they'll perform. But discipline doesn't work like that. Discipline is built earlier, in the room nobody sees, on the day nobody posts. That's why he doesn't practice until he gets it right. He practices until he can't get it wrong. That's discipline. Not intensity, not motivation, repetition with awareness. And that's the mindset shift. Stop asking, how do I perform better? Start asking, how do I rehearse better? Because the stage is just a mirror. It reflects what you did when nobody was watching. Rule 3. Rule 3 is the one people hate because it's not dramatic. Jimin doesn't rely on extreme effort. He relies on daily wins. Most people think discipline means doing something huge. A perfect routine, a full transformation, a sudden glow-up. But real discipline is smaller than that. It's one more rep, one more run-through, one more try, even when you're tired. Because consistency isn't built by intensity, it's built by repeatability. And this is where Jimin is different. He doesn't disappear, even when he's not satisfied, even when he feels like he's behind, even when his mind is loud. He still shows up. That's why people call it talent. It's stacking, quietly, daily, until the results become impossible to ignore. And that's your rule. Don't chase the perfect day. Chase the repeatable day. A day you can do again, and again, and again. That's how discipline becomes real. Rule 4. Now, Rule 4 is where discipline becomes dangerous, because pressure is always there. Pressure to be perfect, pressure to be graceful, pressure to never slip. And pressure can do two things. It can become fuel, or it can become poison. Some people use pressure like a weapon. If I fail, I'm nothing. If I rest, I'm weak. If I'm not perfect, I'm done. That doesn't create discipline. That creates self-hate. But Jimin does something smarter. He turns pressure into precision. He doesn't ask, am I good enough? He asks, what can I improve today? That question keeps you moving without destroying you. So no, he's not fearless. He's focused. Now we answer the burning question. What does Jimin do when he's exhausted, when he doubts himself, when he doesn't feel ready, but he still has to be perfect? Here's the truth. He doesn't rely on motivation. He relies on maintenance. He rests on purpose because he understands something most people learn too late. Rest isn't a reward. Rest is part of the job. If you don't recover, you don't stay consistent, you break. And the world doesn't call that dedication. The world calls that burnout. But Jimin's discipline isn't just training hard. It's protecting the system that makes him unstoppable. That's why his discipline lasts. Because he's not trying to win one day. He's trying to win for years. And that's the final lesson. Self-discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect. It's saying, even when I don't feel perfect, I still show up. Even when I'm tired, I still move forward. Even when nobody sees it, I still do the work. That's the Jimin system. Quiet, consistent, unbreakable. Subscribe for more short guides built from the mindset of the best.